So as you will recall from Module 2, uh, we've got this little diagram here where that's the mind, and this is the spatio-temporal realm of phenomena as Kant understood them. And as I depicted it in Module 2, I was focusing on Kant's critique of theoretical reason. And now I'm going to try to add in what Kant has to say about practical reason, whose object is the freedom of the will, as well as Kant's critique of judgment, which we read for Module 3. So you'll remember that in Kant's transcendental method, for Kant's transcendental method, there are ideas or concepts, I should say, of the understanding that allow us to have determinate knowledge of the causal relationships among objects in the phenomenal realm, right? So the causal relationships between these objects is a function of the logical relationship among the categories or the concepts of the understanding, right? So causal relationships between objects out here are logical relationships between and among categories in here. And this is this being our intuition, formal intuition of space and our formal intuition of time. This is sort of a depiction of Kant's critique of theoretical reason, right? Now, if we want to add in what he discovers in the critique of judgment, we have to bring into the picture a new kind of object, very different than these normal objects that can be understood according to efficient causation, right, where cause is external to effect. What Kant discovers in the critique of judgment is that organisms, and here I'll draw a tree here, organisms exhibit a completely different kind of causality than that which the understanding is equipped to determine. Because with organisms, cause is not external to effect, cause is internal to effect. There's a sort of self-organization or even self-production that we see exhibited in organisms. And as far as Kant was concerned, this shouldn't be really permitted by the understanding. And so with organisms, it's as though the roots of these objects, which they do appear in nature, right? We see them, but it's as if their roots transcend the phenomenal realm, reach into the noumenal, and somehow they participate in ideas or concepts just as the mind can participate in ideas and concepts. But these are, a tree or any organism is a sensory object. It appears in the phenomenal world before us, and yet its activity, its self-organizing dynamics, makes it seem as though, Kant will tell us, that an idea is incarnate in that object. It's as if there's a kind of teleology operative in the growth and development of organisms. And that sort of causality, final causality and formal causality, is something that, for the most part, Kant reserves for the mind alone. But organisms seem to be kind of analogous to mind, right? So the roots of any organic forms, they seem to penetrate beyond the phenomenal into the noumenal realm. Now, something else that Kant discovers in the critique of judgment is that our experience of beauty, say a beautiful sunrise, not as beautiful when I depict it here with this crappy marker, but when we see beauty in nature, it's as if a special harmony is being discovered between our mental faculties and the organization of the natural world, right? And this is how Kant will begin to speculate about the possibility of some unity between the natural world of appearances and those appearances being determined by these causal laws, and the inner world of moral freedom, right? So it's not only beauty, though, that Kant discovers. He also talks about the sublime, and there's those famous lines that I believe are in the preface to the second edition that we read in Module 2, where Kant will talk about the two things that fill him with ever-renewing wonder and awe: the starry heavens above, and that's Saturn, and the moral law within, right? And for Kant, the moral law within, that's a little crucifix there if you can't see it, and the starry heavens above are both examples of the sublime, right? And it's through our experience of the sublime in nature that we can feel physically overwhelmed by the power and the magnitude of nature, but at the same time recognize our own moral power and superiority over anything physical that nature could throw at us. So through our experience, Kant says, of the apparent purposiveness of organisms, and through our experience of beauty and our experience of the sublime infinitude of nature, Kant suggests that it's as if there is some supersensible substratum that, in a way we can't quite understand, allows the freedom of the human will to harmonize with and be unified with the apparent determinism of nature, right? So that's what this dotted line here depicts. It's dotted because this is sort of an as-if possibility that Kant suggests. He's not saying we can have knowledge of this supersensible substratum that unifies the freedom of the will with the determinism of nature, but he's suggesting that through our experience of beauty, which you may remember, he says that beauty can become a symbol for the good, right? So if you think back to Plato, the sun is also considered to be analogous to beauty. The sun is considered to be analogous to the good, I should say. And Kant is inheriting this Platonic tradition where the form or the idea of beauty is that which kind of straddles the sensory and the supersensory realms. It more than any other Platonic idea, is sort of a passageway through the phenomenal into the noumenal. And through an experience of beauty, Kant is suggesting we can come to have some intimation of a grander unity that brings together, again, the freedom of the mind and the determinism of nature. So hopefully this extension of last module's diagram is helpful, and hopefully you can see it. But yeah.